I love you guys.
Welcome to Dustin's Vinyl. And here's your host, Dustin Chafin. And I'm Ronald McDonald.
Anthony Kapfer, everybody. Rocking the yellow and the red, you know, it's hard. You can't wear yellow and red. I feel like they own yellow and red. They really do.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I have a red cap. I was going to wear a red cap, but then I was like, no, I'm going to be Waldo.
Then you just look like a crayon. You know what I mean? You can't. You gotta break it up a little bit.
Well, it would have been a different shirt, but.
Oh, okay.
But just
the Waldo,
with the hat, just with a red hat, I can never wear a red hat.
Yeah. Did you get that a lot? Have you ever worn the stripes?
Yes. Not even with the stripes. If I'm just wearing a red hat and I have glasses, I'm Waldo. It doesn't matter if it's stripes.
Do you get mad when people call you Waldo? I bet you do.
Yeah, people used to call me it on stage when I was, I'd get introduced. I'd be walking to the stage, and before I even get to the microphone, somebody would say Waldo if I was wearing a hat.
I mean, you can't get mad. You get mad at that? I mean, what are you gonna do, man?
Well, I had to, I just have to make fun of them.
Yeah, you can't get mad. You can't get mad. I mean, you set yourself up. It's like I wore a cowboy hat for years, and it's like I got yeehaw every 5 seconds. So like it just is what it is. It's like if you choose something, then that's this consequence. And everybody just wants to make fun of you. Not you, not just you. I mean, mostly you,
but also other people.
Mostly you, but yeah, it keeps us going here on this show. Let me tell you. Hey, all right, let's bring in the riff-raff early because that's the kind of mood I'm in. Everybody, give it up for Adam Holtz and Jeffrey Paul.
Hey, here we are.
All right, gosh, I haven't seen you guys in so long.
Yeah, it's been great. So long.
It's been forever. Got your Lollapalooza shirt on. Nice, Adam. I like it. Did you go to that show?
Yeah, this was I think this was 2017. This is the one where Metallica headlined. It was Metallica and Florence and the Machine.
Oh wow, 2017. That was a little later than I thought.
Or maybe it was sooner, but
they headlined Lollapalooza twice.
They just did it twice, right? And that was the second one?
Yeah, because I saw them earlier.
90s. They did the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, remember when the song When It Sleeps came out?
Until It Sleeps.
Till It Sleeps. Yeah.
On the Load album. That was my first concert, Load tour, Madison Square Garden.
Okay, that was the year that they headlined.
That was 96.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. Who else is on?
I mean, it could have been the 97 Lollapalooza, but
I think Smashing Pumpkins was on that one as well.
Was Smashing on there as well?
This one I went to was 2015. It was Paul McCartney, Metallica, and Florence and the Machine were the 3 headliners.
How did you not mention Paul McCartney?
Paul McCartney played Lollapalooza.
How do you not lead with Paul?
Right.
I didn't know he did a Lollapalooza.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that you have to love Paul McCartney, but it's just crazy that he was there. Like that's got to be nuts that he's. That's great.
It was amazing.
Yeah, people go nuts. I bet, right? People were into it. Yeah, he did. Was it like just straight Beatles, or he did a lot of Wings, or was it everything?
It was a mix. It was a mix. Yeah. He did a lot of Beatles, did Wings, his solo stuff. But it was. Does
he ever do a show where he's like, I mean, has it ever happened where he's like, I'm not doing Beatles stuff? Like, is that that would just be amazing if because John Mellencamp. There's tons of people that do it, and they're like, I'm just doing my new stuff, and they're like, no, you're not. So I'm wondering if that's ever happened with Paul McCartney.
I bet that when he was doing Wings, he probably had that implemented as a rule.
Like in the 70s wanted Wings, and stuff.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like since the 80s, he's been doing great.
It'd be pretty hard, not to squeak out a Beatles song, at least for an encore.
Dustin,
yeah.
That year that I saw Metallica headline, it was Metallica, Soundgarden, the Ramones, Rancid, Rage Against the Machine, Violent Femmes, and Wu-Tang Clan.
Wow.
That is a stacked lineup.
That's one of the greatest lineups of all time.
Yeah, I feel like your car is not very safe at that show, but it seems like a good... Was that too much? All right, people. Because Rage Against the Machine. Everybody gets angry. They just want to bust your windows. That's all I'm saying. So those guys are crazy live. I mean, everybody, the audience goes nuts. I saw them live with the Beastie Boys, and everybody went crazy. People
They're crazy live.
That'd be a good.
And that's someone with Bad Religion. Like it was just like such, the energy. This is phenomenal. Very cool. All right, everybody. It is what do you got?
I was just gonna say the Paul McCartney set. I saw 32 songs, and the majority of them were Beatles songs. I'm looking at the set list right now.
Oh, they have the set list. Oh wow. Yeah. What was what did he close? What were the last 5 songs?
All right, last 5 songs. I'll do the last 5. Can't Buy Me Love, Get Back, Helter Skelter, and then he did the trilogy Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight in the end.
Nice. Sucks, he said.
Come on, though. That's insane. That's just the last 5 songs.
Yeah.
That's
great. My God. That's
what do you open with? What's the first song?
The first song was Magical Mystery Tour.
Damn. I don't think he played. I saw him at Yankee Stadium. I don't think he played Magical Mystery Tour. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's a good opener.
Yeah.
It's a good opener.
Who opened with that? Cheap Trick.
I think.
Cheap Trick did a great cover of it.
Oh, did they? Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound good at all.
It was. I think actually, I think I heard the Cheap Trick version before I ever heard the Beatles version when I was.
Get out of here!
Yeah,
that doesn't sound good at all. I have no desire to hear that whatsoever.
Really? They did a good. I was interested
because it's a great song. It doesn't mean it's that good. It's not.
Robin Zander's
crazy spin on it.
His voice really works. Transcends on that song.
Does it?
Yeah, I do. I think it's.
Is
great.
it on an album or?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know which album. I used to.
Cheap Trick does the Beatles.
Oh, because they had a greatest hits that it was on.
Is that a real album?
No.
Oh,
but they did that residency.
I was like, no.
They did do.
Stop.
Dustin would hate that more than anything. He would hate that more than Living Colored Vivid. Only doing
real.
Boys.
I hate it.
It's not called that, but they did a Vegas residency where they did all Beatles stuff, right, and they released albums of the live performances. So I don't know what it's called. It's not called Does the Beatles, but they did release that album.
I'd rather go to a John Mellencamp concert than Anthony. I would rather see 6 hours of Springsteen than the Cheap Trick doing the Beatles. I tell you,
if they were doing a residency now in Vegas, I would go. I didn't go that.
I'd meet you there, Anthony.
New York. When I was living in New York,
I'd rather see the Monkees than see that.
Wow, I like the Monkees too, actually.
Of course you do.
Well, now it's just the Monkey.
Look at you. Of course you like the Monkees. You don't have to tell us. We know, Anthony. We know.
Like, Michael.
What about the Smithereens doing the Beatles?
Great.
I like that. This is how it started. I think I told you that.
That's right. I think their album was called The Smithereens Does the Beatles.
Yeah.
Play
the Beatles.
They did a residency in Vegas.
The Smiddles. I can't do it. I still like it. Stop. That means you ran out of creativity where you're just like, one song, fine.
You have these hard, fast rules about this.
It's not rules. It's just like, even it's like, even the Cult, like, I'm a big fan. Even when he started doing the Doors stuff, it's like, just leave it alone, man. Stick to the basics of your soul, of your music. Like, stop going off somewhere else just because, you ran out of steam or somebody wants you to pump out a new album. It's like the Christmas album, the cover album. It's like, I don't know. I just think, just don't have an album. Just like take a break. Go to the Bahamas. You don't need to release an album. It's like, just because you love a band doesn't mean you got to do a whole freaking show about it. Like, just one song's cool. You know what I mean? Just, U2, they did Helter Skelter. It was like a whole thing. It's like 1 or 2 songs. It's fine.
Yeah, Motley did Helter Skelter, great version.
Yeah, it's whatever. Is it? Because the Beatles one's the great one. That's the great one. The great one is the Beatles. Oh, everybody else is like a pretty good, pretty good version.
Yeah, it's really good.
But I don't want to. Okay, you went from pretty good to really good. I don't believe any of it.
Excellent.
I've heard the Motley Crue. It's not great at all. It's not even close to being great. It's just, you just compare it to their other.
It's pretty good.
you compare it to their other music, so of course it seems good.
You know what I liked from Motley Crue when they did that one album with the other singer in the
John
90s?
Corabi, Hooligan's Holiday. Yeah,
Hooligan's Holiday is maybe their best song.
Well, Corabi's a great singer.
I'm just putting it out there.
That best single is
Put it out there.
It's not even on like a regular album. It was on the greatest hits. Primal Scream is their best song.
Yeah, really? I don't know. Shout at the devil. That's what I'm gonna go.
That's a good one too.
They couldn't follow that one. On the way home, that's a good one. I'm on my way.
Oh yeah.
But Dustin, are they Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy?
Not even close. Neither is Kiss. Neither any of these bands.
This is in.
I know, but that doesn't mean they deserved it. It's like, I mean, none of these bands are. That's why I chose who I chose, because everybody shits on everybody else, but then they rise these other people. I'm like, dude, come on. It's like you have to think about the spectrum. I'm really excited about this show today. So we got a list. It's the Hall of Fame nominees for 2023. There's a lot of debate on this show about who's good, who's not good. Some people like Springsteen, some people like the Eels, some people like the, Rancid, some people, whatever. We're all over the place. That's what makes this show a great debate of music. And so, Jeff, why don't you list some of the nominees, and then we're going to kind of all defend our nominees as each, you know what I'm talking about. All right,
okay.
Go, Jeff.
So this doesn't mean that they're in. These are who's
nominees
for election to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. Okay. So in alphabetical order, you have Kate Bush, you have Sheryl Crow, you have Missy Elliott, Iron Maiden, Joy Division / New Order, Cyndi Lauper, George Michael, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden, The Spinners, A Tribe Called Quest, The White Stripes, and Warren Zevon. That is a hell of a list to kind of pick 5 bands out of.
Oh, it's 5? Wow.
I don't know if it's
pick 5.
I don't know if it's 5 or 6, but they're all not getting in. Doesn't mean just because
you're a betting man, Jeff. You're very good at the betting. So if you're a betting man, who would you kind of narrow down in that list? Now, not about who you love, not about
no. This is who I think is in.
Okay,
getting in this year.
Okay,
I think George Michael gets in.
George Michael.
I think he's a lock.
Okay.
I'm going to have to say Willie Nelson has to get in this year.
Okay.
For multiple, I think for multiple reasons. But the thing is, if you put Johnny Cash in, you got to put Willie Nelson in. If you're going to say he's an influence on rock and roll, and I think he is.
Okay. I like that.
I think Iron Maiden absolutely is getting in this year.
For personal reasons, you feel that way.
I'll defend my reasons later on. Okay. I think it's going to be one of these two. I think either Sheryl Crow or Cyndi Lauper gets in. Depends on who.
Interesting.
I don't think they both get in. But I think one of them will absolutely get in.
Do you know which one, or are you just saying you think it'll be one?
Which one do I think gets in?
Yeah.
He doesn't know. These are guesses.
No, I mean, does he have one in mind, or is he just saying he thinks only one can?
I think Sheryl Crow gets in for a couple of reasons. One, definitely a stronger catalog, and secondly, because she's also very plugged into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's been a big supporter for years, and she's always there. And I think a group that I think really needs to get in, if you put in the Temptations, the Four Tops, and you go in the rule of threes, I think the Spinners should be in. You have to have
what's a good Spinners song?
Rubber Band Man, Then Came You.
Interesting. You don't think Soundgarden's going to get in?
No, not this time.
New Order? I think New Order gets in.
I think they deserve to be in.
I think New Order gets in.
And I think if you go with 6 bands, that would be my 6th band. Because I think if you're going to go with the diversity of music that you're going to put in, okay, I think you have to put in a female artist. And I think when you look at the 4 female solo artists that are up for this, I think the 2 that stand out are Sheryl Crow and Cyndi Lauper. And I think both are very deserving, but I really think Sheryl Crow has the deeper catalog. When I went back and looked at what she put out, she can put out 2 greatest hits albums. So that's I didn't realize how long she's been around, how good her songs are. I think she gets in. I don't think there are artists on here that I think like New Order, when you're talking about like that 90s, late 80s, 90s dance music, new wave dance music, there is no one else on this list that represents that. And I think, it's really more New Order than it is Joy Division. I think Iron Maiden will get in the same way that what's her name got in last year? Priest. There was a special exemption, to kind of like put them in. I don't think they're a critic's darling, but I think they're undeniable. There's way too much that they should have to be in. I think, again, Willie Nelson. How is Willie Nelson not in, but Johnny Cash is?
Well, there's definitely an argument there. Also, you don't have one African American. These are very white. It's a very white list you got here.
Oh, that's why I think you have to also have the Spinners.
What about Missy Elliott?
No,
she's up for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's a Video Vanguard winner. She can go into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame next year when it opens up. But I don't think I don't think
Rage has a chance with where we are right now. In the world, it's like it might be a statement pick.
What's the statement?
We're raged about the world.
Yeah, but you know what? Rage Against the Machine, they are now like the Machine. They are not as angry as they were in the 90s.
You're not angry when you get money. That's just a fact.
That's why I don't buy Eminem anymore.
It's all bad. Green Day got bad. They all get bad. Mm-hmm. Everybody, once they start making money, they're just bad. Late Ramones. I saw something they had Pet Sematary. It was like
terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I just want to be buried in a pet cemetery. And you're like, what is going on?
In the movie. I think it's in the sequel. Pet Sematary 2, I think.
It's not even in the original Pet Sematary?
I don't think so.
No. It's in the sequel. It's in the sequel.
But and I also think that George Michael, if you're going to put
Stephen King's a big fan, so he had him write a song for it. Anyway, sir.
I love the Ramones, but their later stuff is rough.
Yeah. It is, but I'm just saying because they have money. They're not punk kids on 3rd Avenue. It's like on 3rd Street or whatever. Like it's a different thing.
But do you guys have any problem with George Michael getting in?
Beautiful voice.
Yeah,
not voice. My kind of music, but beautiful voice.
He wrote one of the greatest Christmas songs of all time.
and that's why he should be in.
No, he'll be in.
I have no problem with him. I think he absolutely.
Father Figure is a great song. Gotta Have Faith is a great song.
He's changed. Yeah. He's changed so much, and
Wham is great.
Wham is great. I agree. I think his whole body of music puts him in.
Did I ever tell you about my "Wake Me Up Before You Go" story?
No,
please.
Okay,
this is what the show's for.
I was at a bar years ago with a buddy of mine, and we see these two guys. They're like about to get into a bar fight. Like one guy knocks into the other guy and knocks his drink a little bit, whatever. They start yelling. They're shoving each other. They're like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, whatever song was on fades out. And as they're shoving each other, you just hear the jitterbug. And it kicks into Wake Me Up Before You Go. And it was the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen. And then they didn't fight.
How could you? Videotape.
Did they laugh? Did they laugh at all?
I think they sort of they didn't really want to, but they sort of acknowledged it, and there was no fight after that.
Did anybody else laugh?
Me and my buddy were losing our goddamn minds. It was I don't think I've ever seen anything in a movie or anywhere funnier than that.
Yeah, because that could have gone two ways. I mean, if the Tiger came on, one of them would have been dead.
It would have been over.
That's right.
I've always wanted to see that. I always wanted to see some guy in a bar just the Tiger comes on. And it's like, I think anybody could fight if that song came on. I don't even care if you don't know how to fight. That's hilarious. Jitterbug, ba-boom. That's funny.
I don't know. I can't think of a funnier song to come on during a bar fight.
That's really great.
So right. He should be in. He should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Just for that story.
Just for that moment.
And you should induct him.
Yeah. Should. Yeah. I mean, George Michael's, is a huge part of I don't know, what is that, 92 or something, 91, late 80s. I don't know, somewhere
late 80s. They came out in the 83, Wham. 83, maybe a little later, maybe a little bit later than that.
Well, the Michael stuff is a little more better produced and stuff. Like Father Figures are beautiful.
It's mature. When you look at Praying for Time, what a heady, mature record that is.
Yeah.
And then he gets his dance album out with the Older. It's called Older, and he had songs like Fast Love. I mean, he really is up and down the spectrum of music. I think it's a no-brainer. I'm surprised it took this long for him to be nominated.
I don't.
It's just him, not Wham?
No, it's just him.
Yeah. Why did you laugh? He had a lot of hits with Wham.
Adam and Anthony. The honeymoon's over. Please make fun of him. Go.
All right. So Last Christmas, Wake Me Up Before You Go, Everything She Wants. What was the other one? Careless Whisper.
Careless Whisper is huge.
Yeah, that was
Freedom.
I still consider that just George Michael, I think. But, yeah, Freedom, 90.
And there was Freedom 90. There's regular Freedom and Freedom 90.
And there's Freedom Fries. All right. This is what a show. Hall of Fame, baby. Hall of Fame. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's like it's almost like your band is cooler if they don't get in.
Yeah, like Minor Threat. They're not nominated.
Is that your band?
No, and they never will.
Minor Threat t-shirt.
Oh, well, of course they're not nominated. But I mean, like most bands that are good.
Who's the?
No,
I think there are bands that definitely are being overlooked that should go in.
Here we go again.
You have any off the top?
Didn't Pat Benatar make it last?
She's in.
Yeah,
she's in.
Then why are you so angry? What happened?
Because
who didn't make it?
Because right now,
make it.
Maiden
Who's not nominated?
Maiden has to get in.
Who? Maiden? Do they? All right. Well, start us off. Defend your band. Let's go.
Okay. First of all, you're talking about a gigantic band currently to this day that
currently
North America, yes, South America. I mean, this is a band that can play 4 continents, okay, and had 90,000 people at a show. Look at any Rock in Rio that they headline, okay, and you tell me everyone's wearing a Maiden shirt. I mean, they're all guys, but still, they're wearing a Maiden shirt. The amount of records sold, not a really. Maybe 1 or 2 clunkers in the bunch, but I mean, they are consistently putting out great music. Their last album was a #1 album, Shinsu, and it was a double album.
#1, really? So their new stuff?
It was a #1 album. Well, #1 albums don't have the same cachet that it did back in the day. You put it out.
I have a #1 album too.
Right. So you and Maiden. Iconic logo. I mean, does everything right without the support of terrestrial radio. They never supported Maiden, but the fans do. And I think if you're gonna put bands like Judas Priest and Kiss and all these bands in, I mean, I know music is subjective, okay, but I think like if you're a musician and you listen to the players, they're great. Dickinson is one of the all-time heavy metal voices, okay, and in this music is which is continually disrespected and ignored. All right. Just look at the Grammys the other night. Then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame can't ignore Maiden, and Maiden absolutely has to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And what happened at the Grammys?
Grammys suck.
Well, what happened though? What you said something
Nothing.
Happened at the Grammys
because they don't even acknowledge rock and roll and metal.
They do sometimes.
No, they don't. They never do.
Dude, Motorhead got a Grammy.
God forbid they should bring
Motorhead
the Foo Fighters or Metallica. And when they did bring Metallica on, they had a pair up with Lady Gaga. And they forgot to even mention Metallica. It's constantly being ignored.
They do a rock category.
They don't. No, they don't.
They do.
No, they don't. They put Sam Smith and they put all kind of shit on, and they never put anything good. They never put. They don't. No, it is true.
The Black Pumas just won last a couple of years.
They're not heavy metal. They're rock. They're a rock band, but they're not a metal band.
Dude, Motorhead won a Grammy. Is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm not saying the category is extinct. But the thing is, it's not televised. They don't bring it up. You don't see any heavy metal bands on there. Why can't they? Bring Rival Sons on. Bring Greta Van Fleet on. These are good young bands. Bring Mammoth on. Bring Alter Bridge on.
All right. Well, I guess they're not selling records. They're not selling records.
They sell.
They're not selling records.
Maiden sells. Maiden will never be on the Grammys.
Not like the pop stuff. And I'm just saying that's a good thing. You don't need these bands on the Grammys. It's no big deal. I don't know what the big deal is. You get so angry that these artists aren't on award shows. It's like that makes them uncool automatically. Anybody that's won a Grammy, not cool.
So the best rock album was Ozzy Osbourne, Patient Number 9 was the winner.
This year?
For this year, yeah. And
I've never even heard anything from that album.
No, it's good. Iommi's on it. Jeff Beck is on it. That was a really good album.
See,
but the nominees
they're recognizing it.
The nominees were pretty good too, because you had the Black Keys, Dropout Boogie, you had Elvis Costello with The Boy Named If, Idols with Crawler, Spoon, Lucifer on the Sofa, and then Machine Gun Kelly, Mainstream Sellout. But
oh my god,
mostly good.
Well, at least it was appropriately titled.
How did he get nominated? That's
because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're listening to.
That's true. I'll give you that, but I'm just but some good stuff once in a while comes out. Like I didn't even know Ozzy had an album out, and it's like at least that.
So you're going to nominate that Machine Gun Kelly album, but you wouldn't put in the new Hailstorm album in 2022, Back from the Dead, which was a great album.
What's Hailstorm?
Yeah. Oh God,
is that a band?
You never heard of Hailstorm?
I mean, I've been in a hailstorm.
Kind of right now.
Anthony,
a great cover.
Snob, like you can't.
Separate Ways. Daughtry and Lizzie Hale are on that. Listen, check out Hailstorm, Anthony. I would love to hear what you got.
All right. I'll do it for you.
They're great live.
They should be on the Grammys.
We should do that. We should recommend things for each other.
We've done that, and it was rough. It was rough. Remember, I gave you Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Who's touring? He's touring.
That was just more to drive you crazy. I knew what it would do.
And so I suggested 2 songs for you guys to listen to. It's undeniable. I mean, Hollow Be Thy Name is considered one of the best all-time, heavy metal song. I mean, it's great from a lyrical point of view, a storytelling point of view, musically. It's fantastic. It's the one song. If I had to just have one song on my iPod for the rest of my life, that would be the song. Wow. I can listen to the song, get myself. I'd fight Tyson. Okay, I'd get myself so jacked up. I mean that's the song. And then the other song that I like was the opener for years is Aces High.
Yeah, I think
you'd stories.
I think you would fight a 50-year-old Mike Tyson. I don't think you'd fight a 19-year-old Mike Tyson. It's a big difference.
After that song I remember when I'd play hockey and I would lace up and I'd have that song going, and that song would get me so pumped. And it's great. It's off of the first album with Dickinson as the singer, Number of the Beast. It's a great song. All
right, let's do this. I feel like Iron Maiden is like if Rush put out a metal album. I think that's
yeah.
They sound nothing alike.
That's the joke. That's the thing where it's just like Duran Duran didn't sound like Depeche Mode, but that's the thing. It's
in my heart they do.
Yeah. Well, Well, here's the deal with Rush. If Rush put out a metal album, I think it would be high pitched. It would be, musically, it would be advanced. Like it would just, I stand by this. I think it's like, and I'm not dissing Iron Maiden by saying that. If anything, it's a compliment. I mean, it's saying that it's all about like this kind of fantasy. Lyrically, it's this fantasy stuff of goblins and things. It's just it's similar. It has that feel to it.
I'm surprised Jeff is fighting that comparison so much because I agree.
I'm not fighting that. I'm just saying I don't see the comparison.
Lyrically,
No, because Hallowed Be Thy Name is about a guy's, who's a convicted criminal who's going to jail, right? He's going to be hung. Aces High is about the fighter pilots in World War II. Okay, the intro is Churchill. I think a comparison when you talk about fantasy and stuff like that is more Dio. Dio used to talk about dragons and slaying and castles.
But
that's the same music.
The album is called Number of the Beast, though. I mean, it's not like
Dio
is
the same music.
Dio's the same.
Yeah, as who? As
Maiden. It's the same thing.
Yes. It's music, the same kind of metal.
But content, no.
Yeah, all the
I'd say it's closer to Rush.
You don't think that Dio could have put out an album called Number of the Beast? He did Heaven and Hell with the Black Sabbath. What's the difference?
Here's the difference. The difference is Dio, and the reason why he only lasted 2 albums with Sabbath was because he was too much into Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy stuff, and they wanted to talk about and sing about other things, a little bit more mature topics.
Did you see the documentary? The
Not
Dio
yet.
Documentary?
I want to see it.
They kind of make it sound like part of the reason was that Dio was becoming too recognizable, and the rest of the band didn't like that he was like kind of becoming the face of the band, and it was their band, and they didn't want him to become too.
But Ozzy was the face of Sabbath for years.
Yeah, but they weren't going to make that mistake again.
Well, the only reason why they had the problem with Ozzy is because Ozzy was missing gigs.
Yeah,
he went to the wrong hotel room.
But they wanted it to be their band. Days. They didn't want him to be the Ozzy of the group.
He wasn't the Ozzy of the group, as far he was a responsible song, but it was just too much of the same. It was the same content. And then even when he does his solo albums, like a song like Rock and Roll Children, again, fancy, get into that world, almost like a mystical Hansel and Gretel type of thing. Okay, but
Holy
Rush,
Diver.
Rush, when you look at 2112 and Xanadu, okay, that stuff, I could see that comparison. I don't see it with Maiden.
Tom Sawyer.
What about Tom Sawyer?
I don't know. I'm just naming stuff now.
Yeah, you're just naming stuff, but what about it? Tom Sawyer?
Look, say what you want to say. Nerdy rock is nerdy rock, and Iron Maiden is nerdy rock, and and so is Rush. And that's all I was saying. It's nerdy rock. The whole bands are nerds. They're not rock stars. They're not badasses. They're nerds. Lemmy was a badass. These guys aren't like that. They're very nerdy. They're very into classical music and it's intricate music. But I can't do Iron Maiden. I've tried my whole life. I tried when everybody was wearing the T-shirt with the Eddie on the thing, and I felt like that did a disservice to this band. I felt like it got them this huge fan base of kids and teenagers, and I felt they all became 40 and 50, and that's kind of their fan base. I know kids are wearing the shirt now, and I get that. Maybe they have a resurgence of fans.
It's ironically, I think.
Yeah, I think. Well, and it looks cool, and I get it. It looks cool for what that is, but I think it kind of took the band out of the Black Sabbath conversation by doing that. I feel like at least Black Sabbath always had this mystic rock, kind of almost gothy, metal, whereas Iron Maiden seemed a little cheesy because of Eddie. And it's just is Eddie going to present at the awards? Is the guy still gonna show up and be like,
I bet that I guarantee if they if they get inducted and they play, there will be an Eddie sighting.
That's so funny.
He's like Sasquatch.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it felt like it was tongue in cheek in the beginning, but then it felt like it just kind of went on a little long. There's nobody shreds better than Maiden. I feel like they're great. They are. I'm not taking it away. And his voice is fantastic. I've seen that guy sing other types of music, and it it's phenomenal. Like I forget what he was singing. I saw something where it was just like Queen or something. But he has the vocals.
What he does a great version of? He teams up with Dream Theater, another one of talk about nerd rock. Okay, yeah. Amazing musicians. They do Perfect Strangers, the Deep Purple song.
I thought it was the theme song for the TV show.
No, It's a Deep Purple song that came out in the 80s. Oh my God, it's so
I love that
so
theme
good.
song.
Anthony's vicious today. You gotta be careful. You're getting your sights.
On the wings of our
that is a great theme song.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good song.
I liked Dio's version of "You Deserve a Break" today. That was really good.
But I feel like in when they come out, 81 or something.
Maiden?
Yeah,
Maiden came out.
Their big album. When did their big album come out with Eddie on the front?
Well, it was their first album. Was just called Iron Maiden.
And when was that? 79?
Yeah, it's probably 79, 80. They had two albums before Dickinson. Okay, and with Paul Di'Anno. It's a different sound of the band too. Okay. They're almost more of like a punk band.
Yeah, and I also feel like in 70, especially 80, from 80 to like 83 or 4, if you had anything to do with the devil, kids were going to buy it. You know, like there was just this surgence of like, oh, that's evil. My parents are going to hate it. All right. The rock and roll metal, you know, crucifix upside down, pentagram, you know, anything that felt like it was about that. I feel kids were going crazy for it. And then very fast guitar on top of it. And so I feel like, I mean, his voice is great. I'm not taking anything away from the band. But I do feel right time, right place for sure. During all that crazy, my kids are going to hell because they're listening to this music backwards, and you know all that shit that was happening. I feel it was perfect timing for Maiden. I feel Maiden had came out at a different time. Maybe it wouldn't have had the blast that it had. But
so let me ask you: in your opinion,
yes,
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy?
Yes, only because Kiss is in. Because I think they're more talented than Kiss. So yeah, I think because if a band like Kiss can get in, yeah, but that doesn't mean like my world is you know is different than probably yours. You know, it's like you know more jazz, more things like that. You know, so but I feel like it's rock and roll for what that genre is. Sure, they rock out, you know, but I don't know. I don't think they made more of an impact than Rage or, you know, or even Missy Elliott.
They've made more of an impact than Rage.
What's the impact, though? What is the impact? What is the impact? What is the actual impact?
The actual impact is they've influenced more bands than Rage. You know, Rage was one.
I don't know, man.
Rage, I'm not going to shit on Rage. I like Rage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But, you know, Maiden was before Rage. Rage is one of like Korn and all that time. What was that called? Nu metal. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think they're the best of those 90s bands. Okay,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right. I don't think Rage has nearly the catalog that Maiden has.
All right,
and I think they've influenced band after band that that's my opinion of Maiden. Okay, I three other bands to get to here.
I see it. All right, Adam, how do you feel about Maiden?
So every time I listen to Maiden, I always think, you know, why don't I listen to them more often? I think it's just a band that has that kind of time and place. But I mean, when I saw them, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago at Prudential Center, I was absolutely blown away. And I actually really enjoyed the Giant Eddie band battle. It's hokey, but I thought it was fun. It gave it that nice kind of theatrical element to it. The music is epic. It's very technical. But I think, I think just for their influence, for you know, how well known they are, I think they're deserving of being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, besides Run for the Hills, Anthony, can you name another song?
What's the man? I had it and I lost it. Exactly. The Trooper is the one I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you had to coach him through that, so that doesn't count.
Well, he said that, so
I had it. I thought of it earlier when I was listening to these two songs. I was like, oh,
all right, Jeff, I'm buying one Iron Maiden album. What am I buying?
Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast or Peace of Mind. Either one. Can't go wrong.
Because that other album was 215, right? Off the other song that you gave us 2 songs. One of them was the latest.
Yeah, well, that's a reissue. But
it's a reissue.
Yeah. Aces High is a great song.
I remember Number of the Beast. It was everywhere. So, yeah. All right, Adam, who are you lobbying for.
All right, so I'm going to go with the more recent band on the list. I'm going to go with the White Stripes.
Nice.
And this is, I think, because of the more recent band on there, it's going to be more of an uphill battle for them to. I don't know if they necessarily go in on this ballot. I think they will get in eventually. I think they're probably the most significant one of the most significant bands of the past 20 years. I think also. They're in a lot of ways they don't just play rock. They're also kind of the embodiment of rock. They have the style. Jack and Meg White are dressed in red, white, and black. They have that whole style for the album covers, for the way they dress. For they have I was going to say the kind of mythology behind it, where it's a divorced couple, but they're passing themselves off as brother and sister. They play up that angle the whole time.
I never understood that.
I know.
That is.
I mean, I'm from the South, so I understand that. Because you divorce your sister, and you date her again, and then you get married and you get divorced.
It's kind of weird because it's
who keeps the truck?
I feel like it's something that would only fly in the pre-social media era. Like they had that stretch of the 2000s right before where they were able to still, I still see it all the time when I look them up. People are asking like, are they brother and sister? It's crazy. It's been able to kind of be played out that long. But on top of that, they kind of embraced the simplicity of rock. It was a back to basics kind of rock, but it was also, it was grounded in the blues. And I think the thing is that for all the throwback bands we had, they were the ones that sounded the most unique. When you heard them, I remember the first time I heard them back in 2001, when they had White Blood Cells came out. I would go to the CD store, CD World, and they used to put out this magazine with all the newest releases and kind of the staff picks. And the White Stripes kept popping up on there. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy it without hearing it. Popped it in, got hooked right away on Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground, the first song on there. And then it was really, Fell in Love with a Girl was when it really kind of clicked. And I think it was that it sounded modern enough, but it had that link to the past. But it was, for me, it sounded a bit unique. It sounded different than the music that we were hearing in the 90s. It was more fun too. And there was something in that, that it was both, the music was both complex with Jack White's guitar playing, but also simplistic at the same time. And I think just, like they would kind of genre hop too inside those albums, inside their first three, just the self-titled debut, Distill, and then White Blood Cells. They kind of spanned a lot of American music, and then it was really with Elephant where now you had a much bigger sound. Like you had, we can't talk the White Stripes without talking Seven Nation Army, which is, I would say, probably the greatest rock song of the past 20 years.
Wow.
Because just of how ubiquitous it is. I've read things where they say that when you're thinking about guitar riffs, there's Satisfaction and then there's Seven Nation Army. Like you go to a stadium and all you hear is people chanting that riff, the oh, and it's so common. Like everybody knows it. You could see kids singing it. You see their grandparents singing it. And I think it was such a simple riff, but it was so powerful. And that was kind of how, I think that's kind of how the White Stripes are. But I think, and on top of that, Jack White in general is just a great ambassador for rock and roll. I think at some point he's getting in there, and he's the biggest proponent for the history of rock and kind of bringing it into like the modern ages. And I think, at some point he's getting in, whether it's with the White Stripes, whether it's solo. But I just think him and Meg White should get in as the White Stripes. I think it would be fun to see them in there. It'd be cool to see something more recent in there too. I don't know if they're getting in this. Most likely they're probably not getting in this time because it's just such a stacked ballot. But it would be great to see them. It'd also be great to see if Meg White showed up too.
She's definitely not showing up.
Right.
She's done. She's so done with this situation. But first of all, I think you, Adam, should get inducted to the Hall of Fame for best reviews on this show. You make us all look terrible. None of us know anything. That was beautiful, and it was great. And it's like you really are drawn to this band, and I love that you are, and I see why you are. And I think like if the Hall of Fame was about originality, it's like this band wins everything on this list, because I feel like there's a sound to them, and the fact they came later is even more impressive. I mean, Maiden is great, but there's 40 bands that sound like Maiden. Whether they create a little bit of the sound and got it from Sabbath and whatever, that's irrelevant. It's just when you hear the White Stripes, even there is that thud we were talking about on the other show or whatever, but it's still a distinctive sound. Yeah, it is.
Seven Nation Army.
It is a lot of that. It is a lot of that going on. Whereas Nirvana had a lot of that with the Gap Band stuff. So with the the girl admitted to. So yeah, everybody has their you got to have something, a hook up top to get them in. But as far as originality,
sound.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot going on with this. It's kind of ghost rock. It's kind of creepy that there's just two people and it sounds this big. Like, it's just, I remember Jeff not knowing that they were just two people in the band when they play live. And I think that says how much, their sound is so big. I mean, he was like, oh, well, they don't just show up by themselves. And we're like, yeah, dude. Just the two of them get out in an arena show. And so that's impressive. And I don't think I don't like Jack White's solo stuff too much. I feel like the White Stripes is where it was complete.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all over the place a little bit. It's not the simplicity of him and Meg feel like it works the best.
What about the Raconteurs? Did you like them?
Was that like bands that he was with? I don't know. Yeah. I just feel I've tried. Yeah, I tried. I've tried a lot of the solo stuff. But yeah, I think they deserve it. They probably won't get in now, but who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, people are talking about them, which is great.
Oh yeah,
and that's really all you want. But but their music holds up. It's like this. When did Elephant come out? What was that like? What
2003.
2003. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't feel 20 years old.
When you think about it, the last album came out like in 2007.
Yeah. Icky Thump.
Yeah.
That was a good one too.
Yeah. And it
also had that same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the ultimate.
I think it's slower than that, but
yeah. But it doesn't feel old. Like, Linkin Park feels aged. There's certain music that it's amazing, but it feels aged. Their music doesn't feel that way,
Yeah.
It's like it feels like a rock band, and it's has that ghost thing going on. Ghost rock, I would call them almost. It's like, it's just, I don't know. It kind of bleeds into you. But what do you guys think, Anthony? You seem like you're behind this.
Yeah, I think they should get in. I'm not sure if they will this time, but they're definitely going to be in at some point, and I think they deserve it.
Over Maiden?
I would pick them over Maiden.
They won't get in over Maiden.
But, I also think that Iron Maiden should be in. They're not my favorite band of all time. They're a little cheesy, but I think that they are recognizable enough to be in. If you're talking about rock and roll, at some point, somebody's going to mention Iron Maiden. So they should
metal.
Be in.
Not rock and roll, metal.
Yeah,
they're a metal band.
It's under the umbrella. It's all going to come. Unless you're talking with somebody who has.
I don't think they will like the White Stripes at all, and that's metal. I mean that's rock. I think it's different. Alternative rock and metal usually aren't in the same conversation. I don't think. Maybe the grunge stuff, kinda. I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, we're talking rock and roll, and metal comes up.
That's true. Well, we're forcing ourselves to do that.
I don't know. I just feel like there've always been, there's still, like you said, there's still kids wearing the t-shirts. So
yeah,
it's like Black Flag at this point. It's like, they just want that on a t-shirt. So
but they're better than Black Flag.
I say, no, they are definitely not. But I say they should go in. I say the White Stripes should go in. I'm for it.
Nice. All right. And Jeff,
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to get in this time. No, I don't think so. I think there's a couple things against them. I think, one, this is a stacked class, and two, I think they will eventually get in. But I think what holds them back immediately with, and not like a first ballot, like, no brainer, is that only I think they have 6 albums. Okay. There's not that huge body of work. I mean, but we've seen other bands get in, like Nirvana doesn't have a big body of work, but they have a big influence over changing music. Yeah. I think that
the Pistols get in.
The Pistols got in, but it really, what they get in one album and 1 or 2 songs that really made them stand out. But look at how they changed music. So I think they have to be recognized, kind of like what Anthony said. And I think to represent like the early 2000s, I think when you go back and you look at history, I think the White Stripes are going to be a band that people are absolutely going to look at and say, that was a sound, that was a band. They will eventually influence, maybe some future bands. I think they already have. So in my opinion, I don't think they get in this time, but I think down the road, I think they eventually do get in.
Yeah, I like something that Adam said. He said genre hopping, which I love. I think that's such a great way to describe kind of exploring different music, because a lot of people try to do that and it doesn't work. We make fun of Garth Brooks trying to do it. We make fun of different bands. What Jack White made Dolly Parton and Loretta Lynn cool again. Mm-hmm. Like he, just covering Jolene and working with Loretta Lynn. So it's like, and I love what they've done with some of the country stuff. I feel like, that's, definitely.
Was that White Stripes or was that more Jack White solo?
I think
White Stripes did Jolene.
They did Jolene, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Dolly Parton song. So yeah, I would, yeah. I mean, a little bit of both. I think that Jack White might have produced the Loretta Lynn album, but they covered the Jolene song, which was great. So
yeah, that was a good cover.
Yeah, it's one of their,
would ones. You listen to a whole Dolly Parton cover album by the White Stripes?
No. There's no need for it. It's useless. It's
working like, 9 to 5. I would love to hear.
Once I'll Always Love You comes in, I'm out. I'm sorry.
Stumble out of bed and stumble to
the White Stripes have some great covers too.
Not like Hailstorm.
Still trying to get Hailstorm in there, I tell you. I appreciate it.
That's going to be an uphill battle.
Appreciate your passion, Jeff. I really do. You and Anthony have strong passions about bands I don't want to listen to, but I love it.
Well, no, let's get to your pick then.
Yep.
Oh, my pick sucks. That's why I picked it. Everybody's going to hate it. I picked, the old Sheryl Crow. Sheryl. A lot of people shit on Sheryl Crow. Let me tell you something. Sheryl Crow. This is why I like Sheryl Crow, because what Sheryl Crow can do with just her and a guitar, a lot of these bands on here cannot do. Jack could do it. I think I'm looking at Willie Nelson can do it. That's about it. I mean, who else could do it on here? Maybe Soundgarden, maybe, some solo stuff there, but I don't know. There's something about, somebody that just kind of like creates a sound kind of on her own. She can have any backup band. Do I love Sheryl Crow? No. Do I respect her? Yeah. I've seen her live. I saw her work. She had to follow fucking Lenny Kravitz in his prime. Like, Are You Gonna Go My Way? Lenny Kravitz, where he was just all over the radio. He was the opening act. He was the opening act. He was probably more popular than her. And he went out there. He's got his shirt off. He's on his back. Like he's jumping around, American woman. And he's just good. And it's just gigantic. And she had to just go up and follow that. And she's like kind of sitting on a stool with a tank top, with her pretty hair. And she's just like going into it. And she pulled it off. And the crowd, kind of came to her, whatever. But it was not an easy thing to do. And so I think once I saw that, I was just like, man, that is the last person. You know what I mean? Like we've all had to follow somebody like, Godfrey or something in a comedy club, somebody that's high energy or whatever. So I felt like that kind of sold me a little bit on her. And, the music is it's upbeat, which I like. I feel like all I want to do is such a it was written by her and like three other people. It was like David Ballward, Bill Bertrell, Kevin Gilbert. And apparently it's adapted from a Wynn Cooper poem called Fun. And, the whole thing is about just kind of like Anthony's song he sang on the other show. You want to have fun. You want to, all I want to do is have a little fun and, before I die, whatever. And I get all that. Living LA is kind of about that. So is it the greatest song of all time? No. Is she the greatest artist of all time? No. But is it a good sound that's completely 100% consistent all the way through? I say yes. I say Sheryl Crow is like, what you're going to get with a Sheryl Crow song. She's not going to have a lot of duds. It's going to be a solid song. I think it takes folk, makes it a little less depressing. It puts it a little more in the mainstream. It's a little Indigo Girls. It's a little Bonnie Raitt. It's a little Lucinda Williams. It's a little bit of, other things from the past. And I like it. I think it's good. I think she has fun with it. And the other song that I picked was Picture, which was written by Kid Rock, which we all love and respect on the show.
He is good. He is good.
That song is great. It's like I know it's technically his song, but she makes it, kind of like her own a little bit with this. And apparently the original, they went with Allison Moore was the original singer with that song because they couldn't get the rights because she was with Atlantic Records, so they had some problems getting it. But radio stations played like the Sheryl Crow version anyway, and then it just took off and they figured it out legally. They figured it all out because it was such a hit. But I love that song. I love her with the duet. I want to do a duet song show on here too, see what the best duets are. Okay. But I feel like she was, she's a good, solid, chick rocker. It's acoustic rock, and I think she pulls it off very, very well. And I think she deserves a nod. She has quite the catalog, as you were saying, Jeff. And I think, put her in. I think she makes a good impact. Whether you like her or hate her, I think she deserves to be in. What do you think, Jeff?
You said a word, and I think this is the word that really describes Sheryl Crow, is consistent. When you go back and you look at a catalog, you can pick 2, 3, 4 songs depending on the album, and they're hits. And I mean, there's not a lot of artists that can do that. I think she gets in on this ballot. I really do. My favorite song is not even one of her biggest hits. I love Good Is Good. I think the musicianship on it is amazing. I love the slide guitar on it. I think, even though, what was it? All I Want to Do, I think the better song off that album was Leaving Las Vegas. I used to thought that song was great. I think songs like Strong Enough are good, like pop radio hits. I think she did mix it up a little bit. I did think that she did some radio hits, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to support yourself. And I think that she also wrote some really good, authentic songs. I have no problem with Sheryl Crow getting in. She definitely would have my vote in.
All right, Anthony, I know you hate her. What do you got?
I'm going to tell you this right now. The first time I was ever in Hollywood, I wanted to see Santa Monica Boulevard and listen to this song.
Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet? I'll take you. I'll crank up the song and take you.
Every time I'm near it, I think of this song. I love Sheryl Crow.
There we go.
I love it. I think Strong Enough was one of her greatest songs. I like even the other stuff, like Soak Up the Sun when she was selling out.
Okay.
It's weird because I haven't done too much of a deep dive like it with a lot of her deep cuts, but all of the singles, I love them. Nice. Even the Kid Rock one, I don't mind it. She saves the song.
She does. She saves the song. Like
she's great on it.
Kid Rock is really good on it too, man.
I hadn't heard the song since before.
He's good. He's good. Like all of his songs, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, this was one that I remember it when it came out, but then Kid Rock has had a little bit of a change in his
departure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't revisited this song since Kid Rock became who he is today. And I was like, man, he almost had something.
You gotta love Kid Rock.
But then when she comes in,
he was.
I mean, she's got a better voice. Like he's kind of off key and stuff when he's singing. She comes in and she's a pro. She really, I think she saves the song. It's
absolutely.
a fun.
She absolutely saves the song. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Kid Rock is what he is, and he's in the time when he came out, we all liked him, and then obviously there's other reasons.
He bod with a bod all over the place.
Yeah. body all over the place. He's inspired my fashion. Like, there's a whole lot to Kid Rock. I could be,
You know what, though? If anybody was going to have an album called American Badass, it should have been you.
I mean, I got Cocky's coming out. Cocky 2 is coming out.
Cocky.
So I think it was Adam that wasn't a big fan of the Sheryl Crow. So let's go, buddy.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think I need to make a deeper dive into her music. I got to say, though, listening to All I Want to Do Again, I love that song. I think it's a fun song. I could put that on anytime. It's, I think when I think, that was kind of one of the defining 90s songs, which is impressive, especially because that came during peak grunge. So, and, it was everywhere. It was a great song. First Cut is the Deepest is great. I really like If It Makes You Happy.
Great song.
Soak Up the Sun's fun. I don't know if I really like Picture as much. I think, I don't know. I was kind of on the fence about that song, and I feel like I don't know if it was Kid Rock's part. I feel like Sheryl Crow you might have been able to replace her with somebody else, and it would have been a similar song.
Well, they did do that.
They did, yeah.
It didn't work. So, yeah,
right. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about her. I would be fine if she got in there. I don't know if I'd vote for her, but I would like to go listen to some more of her music, and her impact, the singles she put out were solid.
Yeah, I think Picture is like, if you've ever had your heart broken, then you're gonna like that song a little bit more. Or if you've ever had to leave somebody and you didn't really want to leave them, but it was time for it to leave, it's the relationship to end. I think you got to have a little emotional attachment. Whereas I think you're kind of a more cold-hearted guy, Adam. So
I don't know. I like my breakup songs a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sappy, so I'm gonna like that song.
Right. I don't know. I think it's just those opening lines. Kid Rock just drowning his sorrows in booze and cocaine and women, and it's.
I mean, you gotta love that.
Like, all right.
I have no problem with the cocaine and the booze with Kid Rock. It's just when he tries to like tell people what to do with their other things.
Right. But what the other thing is. The other thing that bothered me was, he's saying like, oh, they see each other, and then he goes, I'm going to go drink, kind of drink away her memory. And then she's like, well, I was on my way to church. I was like, what? I'm like,
well, that's what happens. Bad boys attract the good girls. That's how it always is. Always is. I mean, look at my relationship. I'm telling you. she's the good one. All right. Close this out, Anthony. What do we got here? I feel like I should take my shirt off for this one.
All right, so I'm defending Rage Against the Machine. I picked Bulls on Parade and Vietnam. Both
shut it off. Shut it off.
Yeah, well, they won Best Metal Grammy for a song on Evil Empire.
Okay, they're not metal, but go ahead.
And then they won. They were nominated for, I think, just rock for some of the other songs. Bulls on Parade, I think, was one. And I mean, they had an impact and everything. There's a lot of things I can say to defend Rage Against the Machine, but if we're talking rock and roll, this is what I'm gonna use to defend them. After 9/11, there was a list of songs that were banned from radio. And on the list was every single Rage Against the Machine song. You don't get more rock and roll than that. Put them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I like it. I feel like they're gonna have a mosh pit, like right in the thing. Yeah, I mean, I do think they're metal. I think they're what metal has become, or at that time, And I think, and to me, metal is a lot of things. For you, Jeff, it might be, classically trained guitarist who plays amazing solos and whatever, or long hair it's straight and white and da. But to me, it's hard. To me, it's like, even punk and metal kind of like bleeds into each other.
That's hard rock or new metal, but it's not metal.
Also, but it's worth mentioning that
new metal
Tom Morello's guitar style was completely unique.
That's right.
And really changed sort of the course of what guitar players were doing.
Absolutely.
Very influential, just as a
very creative.
Yes.
Most electric band I've ever seen live. Just the band, just like, you felt like you were going to have a heart attack by the end of it. It was just, it's just hard, man. You thought you were just going to get hit in the face. And I'm not making this up at all. I'm not even trying to be funny, Dustin guy. Every single man, boy, man, a huge age group, had their shirt off. Like it was, and it wasn't even that hot. It was not that hot. And it was like, March. It was like March.
When did you see them, Dustin?
I saw them. It was Bad Religion. It was Beastie Boys, and it was
okay. So this was years ago.
And then I saw them with just Bad Religion. So I saw them twice.
Well, it had to be years ago. They hadn't put out.
No, but they toured last year.
Yep.
Oh, well, it wasn't with the same people.
Of course, it was the same band.
I thought they split up and okay.
No,
well, they broke up. They broke up, and then they were doing Prophets of Rage with
right.
Yeah, Prophets of Rage. Yeah,
but then
they came back. Right. So
they came back briefly.
Right. I think.
Yeah. I saw that. Very briefly, and they're not playing Oakland. They're playing Oakland, but they're not playing LA. I was going to see them, but
they had to cancel or reschedule. I don't know if
they did. Right. They canceled.
They haven't rescheduled anything. There's nothing on the books anymore.
Well, that
he hurt himself. He hurt himself. Yeah. They had to.
Well, that's what I would say. The negative, what I would say about this band is like when you have lightning in a bottle, just make a couple more albums, dude. Mm-hmm. Like and don't make a cover album, which they made. Like make some art together. Go up in the freaking mountains or wherever you got to go and just like lock in and make us some good albums. Because I feel like that's the only negative thing I would say about Rage is like we're very limited what they left. And so are they going to get back together and create this whole thing? I feel like they're a band that like we all want them around. We want them shaking it up politically, especially with Trump and all the stuff going on. We want them to go against the grain and like really shake it. And so I feel like that's why this band resonates to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And their songs are great, man. Those two songs are phenomenal. It's like the beginning of the first one is phenomenal.
Bulls on Parade.
Bulls on Parade. Yeah, the beginning of that song is so good, and it just kind of draws you in. And I love them a lot. I think they're great. I think they're such a good band. Jeff, what do you think?
First of all, Rage was my favorite band of the '90s, hands down. Not even close. I like those two songs. I don't know if they even make my top 10 Rage songs. Maybe Bulls on Parade does. I love Testify. I love Battle for Los Angeles. They're so good. They're so good. I don't think they get in this time either, though, because one, I think they are limited in catalog that they put out, and strong class. If they did get in, no one would have a problem with that. No. Absolutely not. Eventually, I think all these bands wind up getting in. But I love Rage. Like everything Anthony said about Tom Morello's guitar playing, his originality. I don't consider them heavy metal because I don't think Zach is a singer. I think he's more of like a rapper.
He's not a rapper,
but he's passionate, and I love passion in anything. Yeah. Okay,
I wouldn't call him a rapper at all. I think.
But that's singing.
Yeah,
he's like a beat poet kind of.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Singing.
He's not rapping. No, it's not rapping. It's singing. It's Johnny Cash. Did he sing? It's his own thing.
I think he does a combination. I think some of the stuff he do could be classified as rapping, but he has like his own. The way Tom Morello has his own take on what rock guitar is, I think, is what he had, his version of rapping and his version of the singing parts that he does could be compared maybe to something like Fugazi or something. Like he's not a singer.
I don't think you can. I don't think it's a band that can be duplicated, and that's why I think Prophets of Rage didn't work, because I don't think there's anyone else that can sing or do those.
They might get in because of kind of the Nirvana effect, where it's Impact. You know, I bet they get in on.
Oh, they have to because of the Impact, because they didn't have the catalog that. Yeah. You know, what did they have?
Four albums,
3 or 4.
Yeah.
More than
four, but every one of them were. But every one of them were good.
Yeah,
maybe not
everyone.
Except that cover.
But it's like, but also like Dustin said, hey, you're hot right now. Make another album.
Yeah,
we'd love to hear that.
People would love to hear it,
and they don't compromise. That's another thing I like about them too.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, everybody. So we're all going to be taking bets and see who gets into the Hall of Fame. This will not be a live show, but if you want to hit us on our YouTube page, or we would love to see who you think should get into the Hall of Fame and who should win and all that stuff. Win the Hall of Fame awards and all that, whatever all this is. We don't even know. Thank you for listening and watching the show, and we'll see you next time. Support record stores.
Bye, guys.
Buy vinyl.
Yeah.
See you later.
This riff that I always play, it was my attempt at writing a sort of Rage Against the Machine sort of riff.
All right, what do you got?